And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. Got an exciting one here for you today as we go back to where it all began with Jagged Earth with Stone's Unyielding Defiance. What an awesome introduction to Jagged Earth. Stone was back in the day and love coming back to this dude. Defiance is his name for a reason. He does not get pushed around. He is just going to stand in the face of whatever these weenie invaders throw at him, and he's gonna take it. Now, we do have quite the challenge against him today, notwithstanding those facts about Stone, because we are up against Habsburg level 6, and that additional loss condition, oh my. Stone is awesome against Habsburg. I mean, in some ways, really nullifies a lot of what Habsburg does. Light is not an issue. Durable mechanic is not an issue. We can deal with all of that. But that additional loss condition, and every time Habsburg does 8+ damage to the land, we get a mark against us. And guess what? We have a margin of exactly one such mark, because the second time that happens, we will lose in this true solo game. And that is really, really, really rough for Stone. And also, don't forget that you like when invaders do 8+ damage to a land when you're stunned, because then you can set that trap, let them break themselves against the stone, and do a bunch of damage back. Well, no, we're not going to have the full impact of that available to us as we go through this game. We are going to have to try to do it differently. Use the fact that we can have unlimited blight. Theoretically, use the fact that Hasbro's not going to be durable, take down these towns as they come out, and go from there. Now, a little behind the scenes here. I'm actually filming this before I film my playthrough of Lore versus Russia, which will be released first because that is number 6, known as number 5. Numbers, that's how they work. Because I just played level 6 Habsburg with my friend Tony, and we won at level 6, and then I realized I forgot to include the level 5 escalation and forgot to include this little reminder card in the invader deck, and I will not make that mistake now. So in order to minimize mistakes, I'm very familiar with Habsburg. I want to do this now, and I'm hoping for good things. I did do this matchup a few times last week to get ready. I don't want another warm-up game. I want to get right into it. Let's do it. Oh, by the way, I should say, so Tony and I won. We were playing with Vengeance and Ocean. Really, really cool matchup. Level 6 Habsburg is quite the challenge, and we definitely had to force ourselves after a couple of failed attempts to let the island get crappy earlier so we could actually have a chance, so Tony could actually do the full power of his drowning as Ocean, and I could do what I needed to do as Vengeance. And once we did that, it was very cool. I think the fact that we forgot to include this card when we finally won probably one of them made a difference. We had a lot of inefficient turns where Tony was looking for a city to drown and a coastal land that wasn't there, and I was looking for a town to take some revenge on that wasn't there. So who knows? We had a blast. That's all that matters, right? It is what it is. So let's shuffle up these decks. This is the major power deck. I do keep my major power in blue, and we will do this. Man, I love the artwork for Stone. It's just so cool. If there was one spirit that I think I would get as a giant poster on my wall, I do think it's Stone. It's just awesome. It's a really, really cool looking rock lizard thing, and I just love how it presents. That is that. I'm going to shuffle up the minor powers. There are lots of them. The thing that I perhaps dread the most about this new expansion that's coming out, which I'm 99.999% super excited about. But the thing I dread the most is like, damn, how are we going to shuffle a bigger minor power deck? This is already quite an absurd feat. So, hopefully Eric Royce will send us all automatic shufflers that we can install next to our tables and just have it shuffle. And hopefully that's compatible with sleeved cards too. But I'm guessing that won't be the case. They're not expensive, right? Get some automatic shufflers. Must be a couple of thousand each. Nothing. Good to go. We are going to shuffle up these fear cards. The fear deck for Habsburg level 6 is a 5/6/5. So we'll go ahead and get this ready. Have the 2 dividers over here that we need. That will be good. Now, remember, the escalation for Habsburg is pretty nutty. It is that you will add a town on the board if there are 4 or less blight, and then you will add another town if there are 2 or less blight. So early on, when you get to stage 2, you're probably adding 2 towns. You can't just add those towns anywhere you want. You have to add them in lands that do not have blight or other towns in them. So that can be really annoying. So we'll see how this plays out. You also got to remember the after the build step is one way that you get a ton of towns clumped up very early, which gets you to that point where all of a sudden you're hitting that additional loss condition very early in the game. And that can be really annoying. And how do you get so many towns on the board? Well, again, Habsburg does not build cities on inland lands. Instead, they will build 2 towns. So if you build 2 towns, you gather another town. If there was already a town there, well, that is 4 towns. That's 8 damage. Oh, and by the way, if there's a town in an adjacent land, well, now you're doing +2 damage because of the level 6 escalator. So count the explorer that was probably there too. You're doing 11 damage after literally one build, often if the land already started with a town at the beginning of the game. So really, really, really rough. Again, managing that additional loss condition is going to be the primary goal of how I approach this game early. And if we can keep that under control and get to that to a place where it doesn't look like it's going to be an issue, then we should be able to find a way to pull this off. So again, I have 5 cards below the Terror level 3 divider. We have 6 cards between Terror level 2 and Terror level 3, and we have 5 cards on top of the Terror level 2 divider. That will go there on top of Mr. You Win. That's right. Hello, Mr. You Win Dahan. You are one of my favorite people in the world still. Thank you for all that you do in my life. We're now going to shuffle up the event deck, which I keep in red because, you know, it's red. We're going to put this up here. And we now have to set the blight card. I'm going to shuffle up these 16 cards. I'm going to roll my fancy dancy D20. Make sure I have the right side face down. Could be helpful. What is going on here? Oh, thriving communities. Stop thriving. Flip yourself over. That's right. And now we're going to go ahead and roll this D20. Bam. It is a 2. That goes here. We get 3 blight on top of that. 2 because the card says so. And then the Eric Royce loves you blight to go along with it. We love you too, Eric. All right, that goes over here. We need to set the invader deck. I'm going to shuffle the stage 6 invader cards. Stage 6. No, the 6 stage 3 invader cards. I almost said that right. That goes out. We put this here. We have the 5 stage 2 invader cards. We're going to shuffle these. I'm going to get one of these out of the game. That goes there. And then we're going to take 2 of the stage 1 invader cards because we have a little dash of Prussia. So we shuffle those. We're going to roll a die. That's a 4. That's out. I got to do it one more time. I rolled a 4. So 3, 4 for the middle. That is out. And that deck is fine. As for the instructions of level 5, we are going to put this card under the top 5 invader cards. So the 2 for stage 1, the top 3 for stage 2, and yoink, that will go right in there, and we'll deal with that nightmare when it comes up. Not that far from now. So I think I kind of mentioned everything. If you want a fuller explanation of Habsburg, I would recommend going to see my first video where I did match up Stone against Habsburg. I believe that was at level 3, where I talked more about them. And I know I came back to Habsburg a couple other videos since. So big thing with them, again, they are a livestock colony, so they don't get big cities inland. They just have lots and lots of towns, and they are durable. So they do take 4 damage to destroy unless there is blight. If there is blight, then it's only the normal 2. But if there's blight, obviously you don't really love blight because blight's bad for your island. So I rolled that. I rolled 2. So we are on board B. Hello, board B. Now, where does Stone start? Stone is going to start with 2 presents on the board, 1 in the lowest numbered mountain without Dahan, and 1 in an adjacent land that has blight if possible, or is sands if not. So how's that going to work? Let me get my presents. Here's my little solo pack that I keep, so it's easy for me to set up my solo games. I have this to show for the camera what growth options I'm picking. We have 4 fear in the fear pool. Here are all the reminder tokens. I do have the extra reminder tokens over here with some beasts and the extra blight that we need. And then we have the reminder tokens for Habsburg already set up. Again, the Ravage reminder token for the additional loss condition, as well as level 6, the build reminder token that we need for level 2, and then the after the build reminder token that we need for level 1. There is going to be a starting blight in land 4, and I'm going to put a presence in the lowest numbered mountain without the Hun. That is going to be in board 2. And then we are going to add this into the land with blight as per the instructions. So pretty strong on the coast on board B. Obviously, you're going to need to move a wee bit inland. We'll go through this one by one as we put out the various tokens on this board. There's going to be a Dahan in land 1. There's going to be a city in land 2. Because of Habsburg's rules, there's going to be a town in land 2. We have 2 Dahan in land 3. Nothing in land 4. We're going to have a beast in land 5. Oh, there's also going to be a disease in land 2 before I forget that. We're going to have a town in land 5 because it is the highest number of land that does not have any pre-printed setup icons. We have a town in land 6, and we have a Dahan in land 7 and 2 Dahan in land 8. That is all. We are going to need to do the initial explorers into jungles. So we get an explorer here and an explorer there. Not a bad initial explorer for us. We are not going to be having to worry about a city building inland, which again would instead be 2 towns. Oh, and then gather a town as well. Stone's board's busy, a lot of information, special rules. When blight is added to one of your lands, unless the blight outnumbers your presence, do not cascade or destroy presence, yours or others. Deep layers exposed to the surface. The first time you uncover one of these little symbols here, you actually gain a minor power. We'll obviously be doing that. Stone is very top track heavy. You will be doing the top track early and often, and the bottom track is really just a way for you to grab some earth elements, and then you obviously have that reclaim symbol, which is 3 down. We will be taking our time getting there. We're only putting out 1 presence on the board for the most part every turn, and at that point we will be doing again top track. We need the energy for 2 things, not only the cards that we're getting, but we also need to make sure that we can pay for blight coming from the box as opposed to the card. It's central to Stone's strategy. Got my unique powers here. Let's go forward and see what's going on. Oh, I never put an explorer there. There he is. Or I did. I knocked him over. I don't know. I'll find out what happened later when I watch this back. So what do I want to do? Well, this is nice that we have a blight there because it means I'm going to be able to destroy a town with only 2 damage right off the bat. Don't hate that. And then the fact that there's 2 Dahan there is also really nice. And I think this all could work fairly well. Remember, the destroyed town ability plows shatter on the rocky ground. If used in a land that does not have a blight, it just becomes do 2 damage to towns. So need to be aware of that. Probably do want to lean into this Badlands thing a bit. So I'm only going to have 1 card play this first turn. So that bugs me a wee bit. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. Yeah, I think it makes the most sense. Let me destroy that. And then I could add a Badlands, and I can remove a blight in the target land from the game right off the bat. Should work fairly well. I'm going to do the middle option here. I'm going to gain 3 energy. I add a presence 2 away from where I have presence, or within 2 away from where I have presence. I will just add a presence here. I do need a sacred site. And then I have 1 card play. So I'm going to play Scarred and a Stony Land. That goes there with 2. I also get 3 energy from the presence track. So again, 6 energy right in the first turn. It's really nuts. I have my 1 card play. That is slow. I don't have any of my innates, so we're just going to go ahead and go to the invader phase. Invader phase, we're just flipping that over. Jagged Earth rules, we're not carrying that out. And now we do the invader steps. There is no rapids in the first turn, but there is a build. So we're going to build a town there, and we build a town here. After the build step, we gather a town from an adjacent land. I will gather this town from 5, and then we gather this town from 6. When you do this after the build step gathering, you do it in land order. So you do it in number order, 4 and then 8. In this case, if there were multiple boards, you would do it in board and then land order. So you would do A whatever and then B whatever, just to kind of keep things to the point that you can't game the system too much as far as pulling things where. But you do want to get to a point ultimately where you're limiting how many adjacent towns there will be to really make sure this doesn't happen every turn. It's a big way of getting control of Habsburg. We are now going to do the Explorer. The Explorer is into wetlands. There is a source in both 1 and 6, so we'll put those Explorers there. Invader cards advance. Slow powers, we have my 1 slow power. I'm going to do 2 damage, targeting a land that has blight, 1 away from where I have a sacred site, so I'm going to target land 4. That 2 damage is enough to wipe out one of those towns. That generates a fear, and then I'm going to add a Badlands. Actually take some of these out. We're going to need them. add the Badlands into 4, and then remove 1 blight in target land. It is out of the game, put back in the box, does not go on the card. That is done. Slow powers are over. We are going to let time pass. Nothing needs to heal. That will go there. And now we go back to growth. Very exciting. So what are we going to do now? Well, I'm going to do growth option 2 again. I'm going to get 3 energy from the growth track. I'm going to add a presence into a land 2 away. I do want to be adjacent to land 8, so that's important to me. So I'm going to add a presence here in land 6. Gives me some adjacency to 8. And because I uncovered that symbol, I gain a minor power. So obviously Earth is huge. It doesn't mean I won't take a card as number Earth, but it's going to be really, really hard to justify it. So set them on an ever-chasing trail, gather a push 1 explorer, isolate target land. Does not have an Earth, but it does have a plant, which could be a little helpful, but I do really like the isolation mechanic, so we'll see if I want to consider that one. We have drift down into slumber, defend 1. If the target land is a jungle or sands, defend 4 instead. Really like that card. We have call to isolation. It does not have an Earth. Push 1 explorer or town per Dahan, or just push 1 Dahan instead, and then gold allure. You can target a mountain, gather an explorer and a town, and then add a strife. That's an interesting card too. Don't want to actually defend 4 there. I do want to let that blight that will come from the cards. I don't have presence there, so I know that is the thing. I mean, I could actually do this. Again, you can take your card and put your presence in any order. Now that these cards actually change that, I'm just rethinking where I put this. I actually am 2 away from 8 from 4, so 1, 2. So it does make more sense to just put that there. Drift down at the slumber is definitely intriguing, but it doesn't really do much in mountains or in jungles, so I don't love that. And I'm not sure though how much I want to be gathering only into mountains, right? So I do think Drift Down to the Slumber is the better card. We'll see how that works out. It also has the plant tag, so that could come in handy. So I will do that. And now I can play Stubborn Solidity, and I'm going to play Plow Shatter on Rocky Ground. That's going to cost me a total of 3. So Stubborn Solidity is a fast power. Defend 1 per Dahan, so I'm defending 2 in land 8. And then Dahan in target land cannot be changed. That means when they would be damaged, destroyed, removed, replaced, or moved, instead don't. Simple enough. That's totally great. Oh, plus, why am I playing 2 cards even though this says 1? This top track gives me plus 1 card play a turn. So I have the 1 card play from the bottom track plus the 1 from the top track, in case that wasn't clear to anybody. I have exactly 2 Earth, so that does give me the first level of my 1 innate, which is hold the island fast with a bulwark of will. When blight is added to one of my lands, I can spend 2 energy per blight to take it from the box instead of from the blight card. Let me get some energy to be able to afford this. If I have 4 Earth, it would only cost 1 each. I think that's all I have with my fast powers. We have this in play, and again, the target for hold the island fast with the bulwark of will is yourself. This only applies to you. So we're going to go to the event card. Bam. Distant exploration. During the invader step, invaders can explore +1 distance. So that is going to be good to remember. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but it might. And then Grim Toll. On each board, choose a land with disease, and that land do 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. Well, not going to matter because this town is durable, but there you go. It's on its side. We are going to then do Fierce Mean. 1 fear per land with invaders, where Dahan outnumbers cities and towns. Is only 1, so we're going to get that 1 fear up there. That is the event card. We have no fear cards. Let's do the ravage step. So we're ravaging in land 4. It's ravaging 1, 2, 3, and then because of escalator 6, since there is a town in an adjacent land, it's ravaging 2 more. So it's ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, the Badlands don't increase the amount of damage done to the land. That would make this game stupid hard because of that additional loss condition. With Stone, you rely on those Badlands so much, it would be ridiculous to try to win without using them. So it is what it is. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage to the land. I'm going to spend 2, take a blight from the box, put that there because my presence is equal to or greater than a blight. It does not get destroyed. And then we're going up here. They're ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are no towns in adjacent lands. However, they're doing 5 damage anyway. I'll spend my last 2 money, take that blight from the box. Again, because I have presence equal to or greater to that, we're good. Now the Dahan are retaliating. Wait, how do the Dahan survive? Stubborn solidity. That's how. They cannot be changed. They cannot be damaged. It is what it is. They're great. So they're going to retaliate now. They're going to do 4 damage back. And because we have a blight there now, that 4 damage is going to be enough to wipe out both those towns, because both those towns have lost their durability from, again, level 4. So that gives us 2 more fear. We get our first fear card. We will be able to do that next turn. We're going to go to the build step. We're building a town in land 1. We're building a town in land 6. After the build step, we gather. Now you have to gather a town from an adjacent land that does not match the build card, right? So I can't gather this town from 6 into 1. It doesn't work that way. I have to gather the town from 2 or the town from 4. I will gather the town from 2. And then when it comes to 6, there are no adjacent lands other than 1. But again, it has the same land type, so it doesn't apply. So nothing gathers into 6. This die will come off because we don't need the defense die anymore. And now we're going to go to the explore step. Remember, we explore at +2. That's not going to matter because we're exploring into jungles. So we get an explore into land 4. We get an explore into land 8. What does that say? So the escalation after exploring on each board 4 or fewer blight, add a town to a land without towns or blight. On each board with 2 or fewer blight, do the same again. Well, we have 2 blight on the board, so we do have to add 2 towns. It is an argument for not removing a blight right out the game, but it did prevent blight cascade. Blight cascade, it is what it is. So there's definitely trade-offs here. I will add this town to 3 because there are no towns or blight there. It's a good place to do it. And I can actually add this into 2. There are no towns or blights there. So the coastal land is going to be a little bit scary for us, but it does make sense to try to get us out of the inland just a little bit, because again, cities are not durable, towns are. But if we can really start getting ourselves in a place where we're set up to do some nice, let them break themselves because of stone and stuff like that in the coastal land, having kind of controlled this area a little bit more, it will put us in a good place as the game progresses. I am going to do Plows Shatter on rocky ground. I can do 1 damage to each city or town, push 1 town. Oh, invader cards advance. So I can do 1 damage to each town or city and push up to 1 town. That would be enough to actually just wipe this guy out. It's not a terrible idea. Or I could just go ahead and destroy this town here. So if I push this town into here, remember it already has 2 damage on it from the event. It would just now be in a place where it's no longer durable and it would die that way. Or I can just wipe out the town directly here. They are about to build in land 4 next turn. I do think it makes more sense to just wipe this guy out now. And that's going to give us 1 fear. Turn is over. This goes away. Going to now go back to growth. This town is going to heal. Going back to back jungles wasn't terrible for us, so we'll see how this plays out. But obviously have some blight growing on the board. So I am going to gain a power card. Ravaging in wetlands. Kind of okay with both of that being blight. Remember, they're ravaging 5, 7 in land 1. They're ravaging 5 in land 6. If they both blight, that's fine. We can just set ourselves up for the turn after this. I'm going to gain a power card. Part of me is tempted to gain a major. We'll have 4 energy, and I'm not planning to pay for any blight from the box this turn. I'll get a minor. We'll have to come back and get a major next time. So I'm going to put this presence 1 away. Let me get the power card first. Ooh, interesting. All right, so Mesmerize Tranquility, isolate target land. Each invader is -1 damage. Like costs alike. If target land has explorers, gather with 1 explorer. Do likewise for towns, Dahan, Blight, and Beast. Call to trade. You may gather a Dahan. If terror level is 2 or lower, gather 1 town. And the first ravage on target land becomes a build instead. And then Torrents of Disaster. 2 fear the next time an invader is destroyed and target land is turned. 1 fear. Mesmerize Tranquility has the earth, but doesn't really do much else that I like. Call to trade can be pretty interesting. Not sure I'm going to want to turn a ravage into a build. It seems like a totally bad idea. Take like cost a leg just to kind of use it to move some stuff where I want this turn, and then probably drop it when I get a major. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to put this presence in land 5, gives me the most flexibility as far as targeting, although I've already targeted 1 away from everywhere on the board. And then we're going to also play Jagged Shards push from the earth. I'm going to get 4 energy from the presence track. One of that has to go here. And remember, I have 2 card plays, one from the card play track, and then one from the top track as well. I have no fast power, so not worried about that. We're going to go to the invader phase. What does it say? The frontier calls. Explorer actions add +1 explorer to lands without towns or cities. On each board, add a beast to a land without towns, cities, or blight. That's not many lands. I will put a second beast in land 5. See how that goes. Could be some utility in stacking some beasts in a central land for sure. And then seek out new grounds. On each board, gather 1 or 2 Dahan into a land without Dahan setup symbols. This could work. I'll gather 2 Dahan into here. And let's try to get rid of another town as we do this. That will go there. Fear card. Flee from the dangerous lands. On each board, push 1 explorer town from a land with badlands, wilds, or Dahan. I'm going to push this explorer from 8 into 7. That will set me up better in land 8 next turn when I'm defended 4 with Drift into Slumber. And I won't have to do Stubborn Solidity there. So that is fine. We are going to Ravage in land 1. I'm going to take that Blight from the card. We're Ravaging in land 6. I'm taking this Blight from the card. They're Ravaging 3. So although they have 4 health because it's durable, they are still only Ravaging 2. That defeats one of these Dahan. The other one is injured, fights back, 2 damage. The Blight made this town lose its durable trait, so that's now out, and that generates us 1 fear. We are now going to do the build step. We're adding a town in land 8. We're adding a town in land 4. After the build step, we are gathering towns. I will gather a town from 1. There is no town in an adjacent land to gather into 8, which is not enough. You know what then? Not want to have an adjacent town next to this when it ravages next turn. So let me gather from here, and that's going to allow me to put a town there because of the escalation, assuming this is not the coastal lands card. And I think that would just make some more sense. Remember, Explorer action is adding 2 explorers, not just 1. In lands that don't have cities or towns, Explorer action is into sands. So of course it is. So we're getting 2 explorers in land 3. And we're getting 2 explorers in land 5. The escalation kicks in. We only have 4 blight in the land, so I have to add a town to a land that does not have towns. I will add this town to land 3 because again, I do not. Ooh, I could add it to 5. Maybe the beast will do something there, but then it's too risky because if it tries to build a city and instead builds 2 towns, it's a problem. So I'm just going to add this into land 3. Invader cards advance, wetlands, jungle, sands. Now, what am I doing? I am going to add a Badlands in 3 and push 2 Dahan. I'm going to push them into 4, where we are ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 4 next turn. That's a little rough. It's 8 because of, again, the level 6 escalation. And now, like cost to like, where could that be useful? It's not going to do much. Might be able to prevent the build in 5. So just let me use like cause alike on land 4. We're going to gather this explorer, and that's it. Again, I really didn't love that card, so the card draw was a little rough. If land with beast do 1 damage, then we can prevent the build there. So it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. It was a waste of an energy more than likely, but once I get a major, that's going to be clearly a card that I'm going to want to drop. So we did remember this. We now go back to growth. So I'm reclaiming my cards. What do I get? Well, I get 2 earth right off the bat from my thing. So let me actually start putting out some element markers because this is going to start mattering a little bit more. So we need the sun marker, we need the earth marker, and we need the plant marker. I'm going to get some element dice and see what we've got. So we got 2 earth right off the bat. I'm going to actually also be able to add a presence to a mountain or a land with my presence. I'm going to add this presence into land 7. I uncovered that, so I get another power card, and it's got to be a minor. When you're uncovering these, it has to be minors. So we have Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. If target land has your presence, 1 fear and 1 damage. If target land is sands or wetlands, 1 damage. This would have healed. My only earth. I want to start loading up on these earths, so we'll take Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. The fact that it could do 2 damage when I start getting presence in those lands could be really good. And now I have 3 card plays. So I'm going to play Drift Down at the Slumber. I'm going to play Stubborn Solidity. I should also, before I forget, take my 4 energy from the presence track. And then my third card play, because now it's 1+1+1. My third card play is going to be play Plow's Shatter on Rocky Ground. This costs 1. This costs 2. I have 2 earth from the growth option. I have 3 earth from my card. So I have a total of 5 earth. I do have 1 sun and I have 1 plant. Doesn't get me much, but I have it. So it's nice. It's nice to have. We do have the second level of hold the island fast to the bulwark of will. So if there is a blight added to the land, I can spend 1 to take that blight from the card. And then here we also have when invaders deal 1 or more damage to the target land, do 2 damage. And because I have the second level, also deal half of the damage invaders did to the land, rounding down. I am going to obviously have hold the island fast to the bulwark of will active. We are going to defend 1 per Dahan in land 8. Now, there's no adjacent town, right? So it's only doing 3 damage, and hopefully that will be enough. So we have defend 2 up in land 8. Additionally, I'm going to use drift down to slumber, and we're going to do, no. I'm sorry. We're defending 2 in land 4, and we have stubborn solidity. So these Dahan will not be injured no matter what. I'm defending 4 in land 8, a little bit safer. I will have let them break themselves against a stone. I will have that active in land number 4 as well. We are done with our fast powers. We go to the event. The event is war touches the island shore. Oof. Get some change. So invaders from the faraway land assault the ones here. I'm gonna let it happen. So I have to choose the land that has the most cities or towns, minimum 1. So there are 2 here, there are 2 here. I'm going to choose land 2. I could choose land 1, but obviously I don't have any presence there. And I am stone and I want presence there. It's much better for me. So what are we going to do? I am going to take the top card from the major power deck. I'm going to deal its energy and damage to invaders and the land in the coastal land with the most cities and towns. Defend reduces the damage. I have no defend active there. I get dissolve the bonds of kinship. So I do 4 damage. That is going to allow me to spend 1 energy to add a blight from the box. Since I have more presence than I have blight, or an equal number at least, we're good there. I destroy this town. That's 2 fear. It's going to give me another fear card, which is good. And that's 1 damage to this town. It's 1 away from death because, again, it does not have adorable mechanics since there is a blight in land 2 now. Beast find new homes. On each board, push 1 beast to an adjacent land without blight. 1 fear if invaders are present. So I have to push this because it tells me I have to. I'm going to push it here. There is no blight, but there are invaders. So that's 1 fear for that. And then reclaim territory. Each player may push 1 Dahan to an adjacent land, doing 1 damage there. What do I want to do? Yes, I will push this Dahan here to do 1 damage there. That's reclaim territory. It's not return to old pillars where you need actually Dahan setup symbols. That's fine. We just wipe that dude out. Like it was nothing. Very good card for this game and happy to see it. Haven't seen more touches in a while. And trade suffers is the fear card. Invaders do not build in lands with cities. Well, we don't have any lands with cities. So that appears like it's not going to be a problem. We're going to do the Ravage step. The Ravage step is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage in land 4 because you have 3 explorers, 2 towns doing 2 each, and then 2 more damage because you have an adjacent town. I have 2 defend there, so that 9 is now a 7. So I don't have to worry about the additional loss condition. And again, stubborn solidity is active. They are going to retaliate. They're going to wipe out these 2 towns. And additionally, because the Badlands is there, although they were protected due to stubborn solidity, the Badlands will be triggered by this damage to the invaders. So another damage, and we're going to wipe out the Explorer. So that's 2 fear. I destroyed the 2 towns, and now let them break themselves because the stone triggers. That's going to be enough damage to wipe out those 2 explorers as well. Even with just level 1, we don't even need to worry about level 2. But I should remember that they did 7 damage to the land, so I do need to spend an energy to add a blight from the box, but I have 2 presents there. We are good. Do not destroy any of our presents. However, maybe we should consider getting one of those blights out of there soon. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. We're now going to do the Ravage up in land 8. They're ravaging 3. We're defended 4. Retaliating. There is a blight there, so durable doesn't apply. That generates another fear. Gives us our 3rd fear card of the game. So the ravage step is done. And we now go to the build step. There's nothing to build in land 5, but we are building a city in land 3. So that's a ravage of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with that adjacent town. So that's a little rough. After the build step, we have to gather in board land order. So land 3 on our only board, we're going to gather this only town that we can into 3. It will heal, unfortunately. And then land 5 will gather this town here. We're going to do the explore step. Oh, the escalator one more time. So we're going to explore into wetlands. We get an explorer here, an explorer here. We have 6 blight on the board, so we can ignore the escalation. Invader cards advance, and lo and behold, here she is, this awful card. This again is the stage 5 escalation. When revealed in each board, add a city to a coastal land. I will add this right back in land 2, and then we're add a town to the 3 inland lands with the fewest amount of blight. So we don't have any blight in 5, so this gets a town. We don't have any blight in 7, so this gets a town, and we can add this now to the other inland lands that have 1 blight. So I can add this to 6, or I can add this to 8. Let's add this to 8. Beta cards have already advanced. This card has been taken care of. And oh, that is just a beautiful amount of awfulness. I'm going to do plow shatter on a rocky ground. I'm going to do 1 damage to each town and city. I can actually do 2 damage to the city, but it's just going to heal, which is super annoying. And 1 damage to this, I can push it. It has 2 damage onto it. Now it's in a place where it's not durable, so it's going to be defeated there. Everything's going to heal at the end of the round. What are we doing now, kids? Well, I'm eager to get the 6 energy because I'm eager to start getting a major power. What is ravaging? This is ravaging 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is no adjacent town, so 7 add a blight, not a big deal. We might go blight an island. Here it's ravaging 6. That additional loss condition, we are skating around it very nicely. Do you think it's time to get a major? I'm just feeling the need for majors, kids. So let me at least see where I'm at. Even if I can't play this turn, at least it will give me some focus for where I want to go with the rest of this game. And I can also add a presence. I'm probably adding it there. I reserve the right to change that. We get Spill bitterness into the earth. What a crazy, crazy card. 6 damage, add 2 badlands and 1 strife. Add a blight in up to 3 adjacent lands with blight. Add a badlands and a strife. And if I have 3 fire and 3 water, I can do that in 3 adjacent lands. Trust me, that's not happening. Oh, by the way, I'm definitely forgetting like calls to like. So already forgot my card. I don't care what I take. We are getting the trees and stones speak of war. 1 damage and defend 2 per Dahan in the land. Fine. We're going to get this unrelenting growth. Oh, I love it. Just not sure it's right for this game. And then unleash a torrent of the self's own essence. I do not know how I do not get spill bitterness. It is a stone special after all, although we are already kind of at our max with blight. Yikes. Yikes, yikes. Now notice the level 6 escalation for Habsburg, the +2 damage does not happen if there's nothing there to ravage. So it doesn't cause a ravage in a land that doesn't ravage. But if the land does ravage and there's an adjacent town, then you have to worry about the rest of it. So I'm going to get 6 energy from the presence track. Did I play this turn or not? The problem, I spend 6 on cards. I'm only going to have 3 earth, and I'm going to want to spend money to get both of those from the box, and I won't have it. So it might make a little sense to kind of slow my roll a little bit. I can definitely do this next turn. Be sure to remove a blight from a land where I want to do it. So I'm going to play these 3 cards, hold this in reserve, have it for next turn. I have the first level of hold the island fast with a bulwark of will. I have the first level of let them break themselves against the stone. This costs 3. Make the change for this. None of my power cards are fast. Again, I'm using hold the island fast with a bulwark of will on myself. Here's the 4 energy for that. Energy goes quick, but again, I can get 9 energy at the beginning of next turn. Oh, am I gonna have to reclaim next turn? That's not fun. Am I gonna have to reclaim next turn? I don't want to reclaim next turn. I could just only play 1 card though. That might make some sense. So I am going to do let them brace themselves against the stone. I'm going to have that active here. All right, event card. What do we get? Resourceful Populace. It is terror level 1. For the rest of this turn, after an action destroys one or more cities or towns, add a town in adjacent land. If there are no adjacent lands, to isolate, don't add anything. Oh, that is awful. So bad. All right, virulence among close packed homes. Add one disease to the inland land with the most cities or towns. That is going to be land 5. Oh, I really hate Resourceful Populace. It is my least favorite event. I mean, we did just have War Touches the Island, so I can't complain, but wow. And then we have the spirits with at least 3 to hang among its lands, gains 1 energy, and may reclaim 1 card. That is huge for me. I will absolutely reclaim Stubborn Solidity. That's a big reclaim there. Yeah, like that. And the energy. That's great. Really, really nice. I might just play 2 cards next turn because I'll have this Earth too. That could be a really nice combo. I'm still shook by the Resourceful Populace. Let me put this here. The Fear card, Community Disarray. Terror level 1. Each city deals -1 damage during Ravage. Invaders do not heal damage at the end of this turn. That's nice. Let me remind myself of that. And we're going to do the Ravage steps. So they are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage to the land. It's actually only 6. So that is going to mean I can spend 2 to put a blight from the box in land 3. And after the invaders deal 100 damage to the land, I do 2 damage. It actually becomes 3 damage. It's enough to wipe out that city and to fear. Thank you, Badlands. Ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in land 5. The Dahan is no longer amongst us. I could spend 2 energy to put this blight from the box. So that is done. Nothing else happens there. We're going to do the build step. We're building a city in land 1. We're building a town in land 6. Oh, I forgot already. Resourceful Populace. For the rest of this turn, after an action destroys 1 or more towns or cities, add a town to an adjacent land. I'm going to add a town into land 2 because of what happened in land 3. Again, there was a triggered action as a result of let them break themselves in stone, so that's fine. And nothing else was destroyed yet. Yet being the operative word. Oh man, a lot of potential destroying things there. It's going to be really bad. So I added a city there. I added a town there. After the build step, we are gathering. I'm going to gather this town from 5. I'm going to gather this town from 8. No, let me gather this town from 7 because everything else is in a land that has blight. And now we do the explore step. We are exploring into mountains. So escalation, we did not get the coastlands card. We can ignore the escalator though, because we have so much blight on the land. I'd put an explorer in 2 and an explorer in 7 and invader cards advance. Okay, remember, invaders are not healing at the end of this turn, so I do want to remember that. This is still in play with the resourceful populace, so that's a thing as well. Where do I want to do a maximum amount of damage next turn? Well, probably in land 1. I also would like to get some Dahan in there. I also have no presence. Oof. I'm going to add a Badlands to 8. I want to get these Dahan involved. So I'm using Jagged Shards, push from the earth, add a Badlands, push these 2 Dahan. I'm going to target land 8 with pull beneath the hungry earth. It has my presence. It's a fear. It's a fear card. And 1 damage. 1 damage becomes 2 damage. It wipes out that town. It's another fear, but because of resourceful populace, I have to add a town in the adjacent land. I'm going to add it to 6. And then I'm going to do Scarred and Stony Land. I'm going to do 2 damage. I'm going to apply a bolt to the city. Again, cities are not healing at the end of this turn. I'm going to add a Badlands, and I get to remove this blight, put it back in the box. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 health there, which is exactly what I needed to be. So that sets me up perfectly for the next fast phase. So resourceful populace, maybe add 2 towns. In total, could have been a lot worse. This will go over here, and we have remembered to do everything else. Invaders do not heal. How do we want to do this? I am going to really need energy. Not think it makes sense to get another power card. I'm just going to play 2 cards instead of 3. It's going to be the best use of this turn, I think. I'm going to go here. I can add a presence. I'm going to add it from the bottom track. I gain 3 energy from the growth option. and then 6 energy from the presence track. Where am I adding this presence? I'm going to add this presence in land 1. Now, I have 3 earth. Again, 1 from the track now, 2 from my cards. I only have 1 fire. I really haven't triggered anything else, so I have the same levels. Level 1 of hold the island fast with a bulwark of will, and level 1 of after invaders deal 1 or more damage to the target land. 2 damage. Again, the name of that power is let them break themselves against the stone. I'm going to obviously trigger bulwark of will against myself. Figure out where I want to do this. Pay for these 2 cards. This is 1. This is 5. I'm going to do spill bitterness into the earth. I'm doing 6 damage in a land where I have presence. It becomes 7 because there's a bad line. So the city only has 1 health left from last turn. That's 1 damage, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's not a blight there yet. Ha, hold on one sec. So I do 1 damage to the city, 2 damage to that town, 2 damage to that town, and I wipe out those 2 explorers. I did 7 damage total. Well, those 2 towns are still alive. Well, the city is dead. That's 2 fear. I now add 2 Badlands or Strife. I'm just adding Badlands because adding the Strife doesn't make any sense. I'm going to add a Blight. I can spend 2 energy to take this Blight from the box. Now that there's a Blight there, these suckers are no longer durable. Oh, how nice did that work out? So they're dead. That gives us 2 more fear. That gives me another fear card, and I think gets us to terror level 2. It does. Now, carrying out the rest of spill bitterness into the earth, and up to 3 adjacent lands that have blight, I get to add a Badlands or a Strife. I'm going to add a Strife into land 6. No, I'm going to add a Badlands there. I'm going to add a Strife into land 5. And I'm going to add a Strife into land 2. I'm going to play Stubborn Solidity. I'm going to get Defend 2. If I added the Strife there, it's ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Defend 2. If I add the Strife, I prevent 1 toward the additional loss condition. And that, I think, is enough of a concern. So let me get the Badlands out of there, and I'll add the Strife. So now they're ravaging a lot less to the land. And we can stay far away from that. Again, that is very, 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 very tight window. And maybe we'll get lucky with events and stuff like that, that we can actually somehow avoid a Blight Cascade there, right? So otherwise we Blight Cascade. Let me make some change here. I'm really, really pushing it. Trying to keep my presence ahead of this Blight curve, which is fast and furious, kids. Oh, the good times being had. You can see, I mean, just how huge it was to get the ability to reclaim that card. It just makes so much more sense. Let's get this event step. Life's balance tilts. The energies of life shift towards destruction, bringing wasting and disease to the animals of the island. Death is a part of life, but does this go too far? You may let destruction have its way. On each board, remove a beast and add a disease. Discard the top minor power. If it is fast, add a blight. Invaders and Dahan have -1 health, minimum 1 this turn. Alternatively, fortify the resilience of life. On each board, I can add a beast, remove a disease, discard the top minor power. If it is slow, remove 1 blight. Invaders and Dahan have +1 health this turn. Well, shoot. 1,000 More Struggles is also on this card. I only have 4 Dahans. I'm already adding a Blade to a land without Dahan. Oh, it's really bad. That doesn't make me happy. It does look like we're going Bladed Island. I don't have the money to do the Fortify the Resilience of Life. I am going to have to hope that I pull a minor power that's just a slow power. So let destruction have its way. I'm going to remove a beast. These beasts have been not helpful for me. Come on, beasties, just do a little bit more beasting. I add a disease. You can add the disease wherever the heck I want. Again, it's on each board. Running a build here would not be the dumbest idea I've had all day. I don't like it. It's going to be gathering a town in there anyway, so that will make things a little bit easier. We discard the top minor power. It is slow. Nice. So we do not have to add a blight. Invaders and Dahan have -1 health, minimum 1 for the rest of this turn. That could be really huge with Stubborn Solidity because, again, nothing's happening to the Dahan no matter what. And now it's going to be easier to pick off some of those towns in land 6 here. So I'll put that there as a reminder. Now, on each board with 4 more towns or cities and 4 fewer Dahan, add a blight to a land. Without Dahan, I will add a blight to land 7. We could be looking at unlimited cascades, can't we? Yeah, we might be looking at unlimited cascades. I might be dead. So I'm going to add a blight to land 7. It's not destroying my presence. So I definitely need these fear cards to help me out. So it's ravaging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm gonna lose because of 1,000 small struggles. Yeah, I have a blight in too many lands. Oh, this is such a stone game too. This is crazy. This was fun. It's ravaging 6 on defended 2. It's not even close. Fear card 1. Oh, hold on. In each land with Badlands, Disease, Beast, Wilds, or Strife, or adjacent to 3 or more such tokens, defend 5. Oh my god. Yes, it's adjacent to 3 or more such tokens. That's ridiculous. And then Theological Strife, each player adds a strife in a land with presence. Each player gains 1 energy per sacred site they have in a land with invaders. Well, that's 0 for me. I can add a strife in a land with my presence, though. I will add this strife into land 2. Notice I'm in real trouble now. I cannot take another blight anywhere unless I start adding presence. But I am all of a sudden magically defended 7 here, which is the exact amount I needed. I swear, some people had to think I set these decks. I don't. I really, really don't. I have way too many better things to do with my time, like play more games, to be clear. So that's all I need. We're going to do the ravage step. There's nothing ravaging in 1. We're ravaging a total of 8. This strife comes off. We're defended 7. Again, the Dahana have -1 health, but again, stubborn solidity is in play. The Dahana retaliating. Is it really 5? Oh, it's so sick. That is absolutely insane. They're retaliating. They are doing 4 damage, and these towns, they have -1 health each because of life's balance tilts. So the 4 damage wipes out these 3 towns and 1 of these explorers. 3 fear card. All right, marching toward a tier level 3 victory. Maybe. maybe. We now do the build step. We're going to use the disease in land 7, prevent that build, and we're doing the disease in land 2, preventing that build. After the build step, we have to gather a town. I will gather a town from land 3 into land 2, gathering this town with strife from land 5 into land 7. We are now going to go to the explore step. We're exploring into jungles and sands. So we get an explorer here. In land 3, there's a source for 4, there's a source for 5, there is a source for 8. Invader cards advance. Take this reminder token away. Oh, and the other thing I forgot, this had to be set up in a land where I had presence. I actually couldn't do let them break themselves against a stone because I did not have presence in land 6. So that lone explorer would have survived that whole messy ordeal. All right. So still healthy island. Looks it, doesn't it? I'm reclaiming my cards. I'm going to get 2 earth from that. I'm adding a presence. I'm going to add this presence from the bottom track. This is so nutty. Yeah, because that's going to give me the ability to reclaim 1 next turn. I don't know if I have the money for 4 cards. Anyway, I'm getting 6 energy. This is ravaging 2. Serious problem. This is actually only ravaging 1. There's not an adjacent town. There's not an adjacent town either of those things. So this is ravaging 2 if the strife isn't canceled. This is ravaging a total of 3. I'm gonna put another presence here. I mean, do I dare? I think I do. Do I dare? 3 card plays. So drift down into slumber is in the house. Spill bitterness into the earth is also active. There's a chance I can win this after the first ravage here. And I'm going to do 1 more card. So I'm going to use all 7 of my energy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 earth. I do not have any sun, so I can't do the repeat of let them break themselves against a stone. But I do have the 2nd level of let them break themselves against a stone. I will place this active in land 7. I'm going to do a bunch of damage in land 2. And I do have the 3rd level of hold the island fast with a bulwark of will, but again, I won't have the energy, and if I put any blight on the board, I'm going to be in an infinite blight loop. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm defending 1, exactly 1 in land 7. Again, hopefully the strife is not negated. Remember that strife was added by spill bitterness into the earth when I put it into land 5, and then I had to gather the town into land 7. And now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to do 6 damage in land 2. 6 damage is enough to wipe out this city. This town is out. This strife goes away. And I'm going to do 1 damage to this town. So if I could push a Dahan in there, do 1 damage, I'm just trying to set myself up this town goes away. If I have to go past the next Ravage, I'm probably in trouble. There's so many things that affect the health of things that have strife. Best case for me, game theory, is like, all right, let me just wipe out the city and the town, do 1 damage to the other town. That gives me 3 fear. I get to add 2 Badlands or strife. I'm going to add 1 Badlands and 1 strife. I also have to add a blight. Oh, shoot. Let me not play this card because I have to get that blight. Not bad. I will play Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. Send the same math here. So I'm going to spend 1 there. I'm going to spend 1 because I have the second level. I actually have the third level of this. And I'm going to take this blight from the box and put it in land 2. Up to 3 additional lands with blight. I can add a strife or a Badlands. I will add a strife, and a Badlands. That's insane. I have no more fast powers. I already set the trap up on land 7, so I'll put there's another color reminder token there to kind of stand out a little bit more. We're going to go to the invader phase. Oh, lordy lord. Wave of recognizance. So that's stage 1. We are in stage 3. So in each land with at least 2 towns, you place half the towns rounding up with cities. Well, I have no lands with 2 towns, so that's fine. Invaders do not ravage in lands with strife or disease. Oh, that's awful. So not ravaging in lands with strife or disease. So much for all my trappy traps, because that's not going to do anything. And then each board push 2 Dahan from a land with cities to a land without cities. I have no Dahan in lands with cities. Fear card. Explorers are reluctant. Skip the next normal explore. During the next invader phase, draw an additional explore card. So that's going to be a thing. Oh no. Oh, it's going to be a lot of towns. I am forever and a day from the Terror level 3. So invaders are not ravaging in 2, the strife stays. The invaders are not ravaging in 7, the strife stays. All this goes away with no effect. Okay, the invaders are now building. They are not building in 5 because of that. They're building a town in 3. They're building a town in 4. And they're building a town in 8. They're not exploring. We do another explore card next turn, and everything else advances. Oh, after the build step, we gather a town land board order. So we have to gather into land 3, and we have to gather into land 4. We don't gather into 5, and we don't gather into 8. 5 is only ravaging 1, so who cares? This dude was injured. Fend those guys. I'm going to use Pull Beneath the Hungry Earth. I'm going to target land 3. Target land has your presence, 1 fear, a fear card, 1 damage. It becomes 2 damage because of the Badlands. We're going to wipe out that town. Because it's the sands, I can do 1 more damage. This town was already injured. Remember, I did that in the fast power phase. That destroys that. That's another fear. Strife goes away. Ooh, okay. This got really, really deep, really quick. So this all comes out. I am going to reclaim 1. I need that defend card. Oh yeah, I do. I got the reclaim because I'm taking bottom track here. And I think I grab as much energy as I can. Ravaging 2 there. Well, there's an adjacent town, so ravaging 4 there. But you can choose the order you do this in, right? Ravaging 4 then again, this is assuming strife still counts. Ravaging 4 there, ravaging 3 there, ravaging 8 there. You can choose the order. So I would need these to go away. Those towns go away. It's ravaging 2 there and ravaging 1 there. Still ravaging 3 there. Put a presence there so I can just add it from the box. So I'm going to add this here. Question is, do I add a power card? Probably not. Even if that blights, who cares? So I'm going to get 3 energy, 6 energy. I'm playing that. I'm playing this. And I will play this. Nothing's building this turn, so this is like another really good window to kind of get this done. 1, 2, defending 4 in land 3. We are defending 2 in land 4. And Stubborn Solidity is active there, so nothing's going to happen to those Dahan. Counting elements, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. And no suns, so we have let them break themselves against the stone. I'm going to make that active in land number 8. And we have the final level of hold the island fast with a bulwark of will. So that should help with both presence and blight. We have tons of energy here. And again, it's only 1 energy instead of 2 to take blight from the box. We're now going to the event card. Invaders surge inland on a coastal land on each board. Move one town, one or two lands inland. We have no coastal towns. Graham toll. On each board, choose a land with disease. I have no land with disease. If I did, I'd have to do 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to the Han in a land with disease. And then county defense during ravage in every land, defend 1 per the Han in that land. So I'm actually defending 4 inland. 4. This goes away. I remembered that last turn. Fine. Fear card. Dahan attack. Each player choose a different land with Dahan. 1 damage per Dahan there. And I'll wipe out the Explorer in land 6. We're now ravaging. I'm ravaging in land 4 first. They're ravaging a total of 2. I'm defended 4. Dahan retaliate. They're retaliating with 4, becomes 5 because of the Badlands. So that's going to wipe out all these guys. 2 fear. Those strife go away. That's a fear card. We can now ravage in land 8. I'm going to spend 1 energy, make this come out of the box. And then we have let them break themselves against the stone. I'm going to do 2 damage back. 2 damage becomes 3, destroys those guys. And that is a terror level 2 victory with another fear. The rest of it, again, we're defended in 3. They're only ravaging 1 in 5. And wow. God, Stone is so nuts. It's such a nutty game. And I'll tell you what, this might be covered in blight everywhere, but that still looks more satisfying to me than friggin' England's massive cities. What a cool game, man. That was great. I hope you're jazzed on any level because I'm like just tickled that that worked out. I really got to that place where I was like, I cannot win. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have blight in every land. And that 1 extra blight, I'm just going to cascade everywhere in infinity. And how the heck I pull beset by many troubles. The number of times I see beset by many troubles and I'm like, I don't like you. And now I'm like, I will love you forever, beset by many troubles, because I literally needed defend 5. And I pulled the only thing that's defend 5. I mean, other things could have helped, right? Like if I was able to move towns, if I could have moved that town out, it would have reduced that because level 6 wouldn't have mattered. But I can't imagine there was many cards that would have helped me out there. I was hoping for the combo or like couple Dahan do 1 damage each. Like still, even then, I just don't think it would have added up. And the biggest choice that I made that kind of put me in a place where I had a chance was like, well, let me put a strife there instead of the Badlands just in case I get lucky. And it didn't even dawn on me that I was going to have a problem with an infinite loop of blight because remember 7 was still open. The event card that round made me put a blight there. So I was like, uh-oh, I don't have that safety valve anymore. That whole 1,000 small struggles thing is so annoying because it's so easy to be on the board with some of these spirits and only have 4 Dahan, right? It's like not that hard to lose to Dahan. And now it's like, well, of course there's 4 towns or cities left on the board. I'm playing against Habsburg and you just made me put a city and 3 towns because of no reason, Eric Royce. I digress. But that was so awesome. What a fun spirit. It just changes the game and it's just different. And it's like, but it's so blighty and badlandy. But yeah, dude, but we walloped those freaking invaders, man. Terror level 2 victory. How freaking awesome. Even the fear card that was like, well, they're not exploring, it didn't matter, right? Because, well, who cares if they explored? We'd add another explorer there. Fine. Like, that's still defended 4. We had strife everywhere. And picking up Silver and this into the earth, I mean, with stone is definitely a bit of a nice turn of events. I'll tell you what, if this strain for strain series is going to keep going like this, I might just do it again. Just keep going back to it. Just do it over. Why not? Like, if I'm going to keep getting these magical draws, but you do need to get a little bit lucky on these level 6 playthroughs. I saw one guy who was like, well, people have gotten so good at this game that you should really be able to win 99% of the time against a level 6 adversary. And I'm like, you're so full of crap, dude. Like anyone who's got a 90+% win percentage true solo with any rando spirit versus any rando adversary, God bless you, man. Like that is insane. And I am far from the best player of this game. And I know I have errors in my game and holes, and people are sure enough eager to point stuff like that out to me in the chat. But I'm just saying, like these level 6 adversaries, you get a couple of bad card draws early. you don't get the right major, bad event kind of throws off your plans, it's really going to be tough for you to turn that around. And sometimes it happens, right? When I started this off with Ocean and I had those two really rough early invader cards, but then every single power card I drew was exactly what I needed. And every single event wasn't that bad, and every fear card was really helpful. And here, I got lucky in that one place where it's like, well, the event card made it unlucky that I was like, oh shoot, I'm in a infinite blight loop. But now here's the fear card to save the day. And that's what I said about this game a long time ago. This game just weaves together some awesome stories. You don't have to set the deck. The game will take care of it. There's so much depth and there's so much intrigue and there's so many things built into this game that the stories just happen. You don't have to force them. And it's just really fun to get these on film and to get a playthrough like this. And it's like, um, yeah, like the players are clearly beset by many troubles. I was in complete control. Look at this dude. Does this dude look like someone who wasn't in control of this whole entire game? Like, yeah, kind of. Well, that was fun. 3 in the books by the time you watch this. I still need to film number 2 of 3, but that's fine. We got 4 left coming down the pipe. Number 4 is Fangs versus France. Super excited about that one. It's going to be definitely a challenge. Fangs might be a little higher on the list than he should be, but I just love that dude so much. And I do think he matches up fairly well against France if you can get on top of things early. So we'll see how that plays out. And then after that, we got Thunder Speaker and we got Many Minds and we have Trickster, not in that order, of course, but close enough, right? If you want to see what's coming up in Solo Playthroughs Land, you can go on my Patreon page. There's a link in the description below that will take you to a public post that I put out before every month that has the entire schedule for the month to come. So you can check that out and make sure you don't miss anything that you want to see here in Solo Playthroughs. While you're there, if you want to check out the various tiers of support, if supporting this channel is something that you would consider doing, that would mean a lot to me. Either way, thank you so much for the likes, the comments, the subscriptions to help make Solo Playthroughs bigger and better as it has continued to grow and kind of surprised even me over the recent couple of years. So until next time, thank you for joining me and happy gaming.